Okay, let's discuss potential future NHL expansion and let's discuss Atlanta again. I've already done a video on this, but I think Atlanta is looking more and more likely to be where the NHL expands to next. Whether that happens before 2030 or after 2030 is anyone's guess. But with the NHL regular season expanding to 84 games from 82 for next season in 2026, 2027, for the next 4 years, I think we might see expansion before 2030, if not definitely in 2030 or thereafter. But I do think Atlanta is looking more and more likely to be the next expansion location. We know Houston have declared interest and have had meetings with the NHL hierarchy as well. We know New Orleans has now come along and said, hey, we would like to be in the discussion for potential future expansion. Even Omaha, Nebraska has said, you know what, we might be interested in having an NHL franchise. There's been discussion around Kansas City, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, and of course Quebec never goes away from the conversation. We also know that Phoenix and what was the Coyotes, which have been mothballed, have been given first refusal. They can come in within the next 5 years, and we do know there are potential ownership groups in the Phoenix metro area as well. The issue with Phoenix, much like with Atlanta when they were the Thrashers, is arena availability and having an arena. But here's the thing. There are two of the leading potential ownership groups in Atlanta who've had meetings with the NHL that have already set aside locations where they're going to build new arenas. They've already identified and got planning permission for arena development. Kraus Sports and Entertainment and Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment. Now, the Kraus Sports and Entertainment group, alongside with Forsyth County, who are one of the counties that make up the metro area of Atlanta, have identified an area of land. They've set aside, well, Forsyth County have at least $3 billion US. Now, we also know there's some private funding with Kraus Sports and Entertainment as well, but there's some public money there, a lot of public money there, for a development called The Gathering, which is going to be basically an arena district with the arena, shops, hotels, office space, and residential space. There'll be some sort of mini skyscrapers and associated housing, offices. They're going to build a multi-use development with the arena as the core. We've already seen the renderings, public renderings. Other YouTubers and media outlets have already covered this proposal, The Gathering. It's had a lot of media coverage. And especially if you live in the Atlanta area, you would know about this, especially if you live in Forsyth County or work in Forsyth County. This is a well-known proposal that the Kraus Sports and Entertainment Group have put forward. They have had really constructive meetings with the NHL. Now, the Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment Group, who I think are in second place in regards to being the ownership group should expansion go Atlanta's way, have identified the North Point Mall, which is one of those big strip malls, and that's literally around the corner from when the Thrashers used to play in their old arena. The irony of that arena still standing is not lost on people. But they've identified this site, and strip malls in the US are not doing as well economically as they were in the 90s. There's less foot traffic, there's a lot of empty units, and people's shopping habits have changed. People's habits have changed in regards to where they spend their money, what stores they go to, and what they buy online. And so these big mall sites, while they're well connected with interstates and public transit, for example, have lots of parking, they're not getting the use they once were, and they're not making the money that they once did. And so the Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment Group have identified this struggling mall, this North Point Mall, as we'll put the arena there. It's got the infrastructure around it, with transportation, with the roads and the public transit in Atlanta. We'll just build our arena there. And they're sort of in second place in regards to the potential ownership groups. But these are the two main groups that have had meetings. Their representatives have had meetings with the NHL, even before Utah came along last year. So we know that while the NHL may publicly be saying, oh, we're not going to expand at the moment, we know they're having meetings. We know Houston, the interested parties in Houston have been having meetings. We know Phoenix, there have been meetings. We know Louisiana with New Orleans. Omaha, Nebraska has declared interest, and there have been meetings held with potential ownership groups of potential expansion locations. Now, The concern a lot of people have with Atlanta is the NHL has failed here before for different reasons. Now, the Flames just weren't very good, couldn't draw fans, they weren't a very good team on the ice, and they struggled in the playoffs. They get relocated to Calgary, and at times the Flames in Calgary could have potentially been moved. There's been arena issues with the Saddle Dome. They've now got, their replacement underway, and they're going to replace the Saddle Dome. But there was a period where, would they be viable in the Saddle Dome? And even in the 90s, there was concerns that more than just the Jets and the Nordiques being relocated from Canada, but the Flames as well. There were concerns that the Flames may ultimately get relocated from Canada. They didn't. They won a Stanley Cup. They went to a Stanley Cup final, but there's been periods with the Flames where it hasn't always been rosy north of the border. Now, the Thrashers end up in Winnipeg. We know about that, how quickly that happened, and it was arena availability. Now, that old arena still stands. It might not be up to modern NHL standard, but it's still there. So I find it interesting that these two ownership groups want to build brand new facilities when they could spend less money just redeveloping and refurbing the existing arenas that already exist in the Atlanta Metro, of where there are many, not just the old Thrashers one. The Thrashers failed because they were badly run and they weren't really paying the money for the arena lease. Whereas if you build your own complex like Kraus Sports Entertainment or Alpharetta Sports Entertainment, you own the arena. It gives a bit more certainty. Now, people will say, why can't the Nordiques come back? Or another Canadian location, like Hamilton, for example. The Nordiques won't come back right now or ever. Economics. I know there's those romantics out there that want to see the Nordiques logo again on the ice, and they want to, see, the Nordiques back, Battle of Quebec and all that. And yeah, that 18,000 seat arena in Quebec City would sell out. But you've got a small market share in regards to the metro size of Quebec City. You've got to think about the corporate, and you've got to remember that the Canadian dollar is weaker than the US dollar. It's not at parity. It's not stronger at the moment. It's weaker. It has been for some time, which means it costs more to run an NHL franchise. It costs more. So when they talk about expansion fees being anywhere between 750 and $1 billion US dollars, and some Canadian, it will cost more for a Canadian ownership group to bid to become a NHL franchise. It will. And even with relocation fees, let's say a team's struggling, they relocate the team. Quebec goes, we've got an arena, we've got an ownership group. It will still cost more money than relocating within the US. It's plain simple economics, unfortunately. In regards to Atlanta, many people will say there's been failures here before, and I've seen it on social media now, but I do think they are further down the track in regards to getting a third attempt over Houston and other US and Canadian cities. I think Atlanta is further down the track in regards with the meetings they've been having, the proposals that have been put on for arena sites, and I just think they're further down the track than a Houston or a New Orleans or an Omaha, Nebraska, or an Indianapolis or a Milwaukee or a Kansas City, or insert any city, Portland, there you go, insert any city that doesn't have an NHL franchise in the US or Canada. I think Atlanta are further down the track. I think the amount of meetings that have been had, that the NHL has acknowledged they've been having meetings with them. It would be interesting if Kraus Sports Entertainment and Alpharetta Sports Entertainment, if they were merged their bids together and just get all that financial backing, which they have, and they were to choose either the Gathering development or the North Point Mall site development and go, that's where we're going to put the arena. I think that would really add even further credence. But we will see. We know there's multiple interested parties in Atlanta. The timeline on it, I mean, there are many people saying that it will happen after 2030. I think it could happen before 2030. I really do. If for example, if Kraus Sports Entertainment and Forsyth County can greenlight this Gathering development and get it done, I think that forces the NHL's hand a little bit. If Alpharetta Sports Entertainment, if they can get that North Point Mall site completely redeveloped, build that arena district, and get it done, again, I think that really does force the NHL's hand. We know they've got money behind them. We know there's public funding and private funding there. I think they are further down the track than Houston. How much will the expansion fee be? We're talking $750 to $1 billion. No less. I mean, if it was 500 million for Vegas and 650 for Seattle, we're looking upwards of 750 million upwards. No doubt that we're looking at 750 to $1 billion minimum. And we'll see what happens. The timeline. A lot of people in the media, on social media, say 2030 or later. I think it could happen before, especially with the expanded regular season from 80 to 84 games for a 4-year period minimum from next year, and the regularity that meetings are being had, and how quickly Salt Lake City came up from nowhere to take the Coyotes, turn them into the Utah Mammoth, and get that franchise up and running. It shows it can happen quickly, but they had an arena as well. If they can get groundwork started on an arena, get that arena built quickly, it could happen. With Salt Lake City, with Utah, it happened very, very quickly because they had that arena, and they had also a plan for a new arena down the track, or upgrades to the existing arena down the track with public money and private money. They had a plan in place. So we shall see what happens. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.